Hi, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Power of Knowing Forum's 123rd episode on LinkedIn Live. Today, we are discussing on the topic of breaking the mold strategies for overcoming growth barriers. And we have the honor of having Mr. Sandeep Gupta, speaker, coach, design thinking expert, and the founder of Consciousness Matters. Without further ado, let's bring Mr. Sanjay Gupta to the show. Hi, sir. Good evening. Welcome to our show, sir.
Yeah,
How are
good
you?
evening. Good evening, Prem. It is so nice to be on your show. It's the second time. Thank you very much. I feel honored.
Welcome, sir. Sir, curious about the topic that you've chosen to talk about today is the growth, the breaking the mold for strategy and overcoming growth barriers. An insight on that, sir, or a thought on how what are we talking about a mold, which is more interesting for me, sir.
There's a saying, Prem, if you are not growing, you're dying.
Okay.
Do you agree with this thing?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Definitely, sir.
Now, the way businesses, you know, are changing every day, the way their lifespan is shortening, you'll be surprised that 20 years back in India, the average business lifespan was 60 years. I mean, a lifespan of a company.
Okay.
It is down to 20 years. Globally, in 1958, it was 60. In 23, it is down to 15 years. Why? Because
Mhm.
the ecosystem, is changing so fast that there's no space for sitting back and relaxing. You got to keep breaking the molds. When I say breaking the molds, what I mean is that whatever systems, thinking, patterns, leadership, skill sets, etc., are there, getting out of the comfort zone, changing them, and reinventing yourself, aligning with the changing situation, and keep going. Now, this is a very new phenomenon. And even if I look at traditionally, businesses, when they start, they have a certain skill set, they adopt certain systems, certain procedures. And in India, when they hit around 10 crores, a new skill set is required.
Hmm.
Then when they hit 50 crores, a different skill set is required. When they hit 250 crores, a totally different skill set is required.
Hmm. True.
Now, this new skill set is a philosophical change. When you're in a startup situation, you want to do everything yourself. As you reach 10
Yeah.
crores, you are employing more people, you start delegating, you are 50. You see, again, there are more people, you're in the business development mode, you are pushing for sales to gain visibility. Now you have touched 250 crores. You got to take the business development model to the organization development model, which
Hmm.
requires a totally different leadership, which requires a totally different mindset, which requires a totally different systems, procedures, because the scale and the complexity has increased, has changed. So breaking the mold means that you are reinventing yourself and aligning yourself to the present situation. Now, probably your second question would be, what are the growth barriers?
True. You got the point, sir.
You see, we live in two worlds, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
The apparent world, the non-apparent world, that is the world which drives the apparent world. And the invisible world, which is the driver world, drives the visible world.
Hmm.
Now, leadership deficit, financial strains, marketing saturation, etc., etc., these are all apparent things.
Hmm.
You search in Google, you'll get an entire laundry list. So let us talk about something which is not talked about.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
What are those factors? Number one, the purpose. For what purpose are you in business?
Yeah.
That becomes very important. Prem, I think my screen has got cut. Is that okay?
No, you're right, sir. You're on
Oh,
the
okay,
right.
right.
This one. It is clear.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. So the first thing is purpose. For what purpose are you in business? A lot of businessmen will say, our purpose is to make money. Now, money is something secondary, it's a resultant. And if it is the only purpose of you being in business, God bless you. You see, because you're not doing business alone, a group of people are along with you and they're helping you. Like I
Yeah.
always define business. What is business? Business is a socio-economic relationship between three sets of people. Number one are the owners who set the business.
Hmm.
Number two are the people who work over there.
Work.
And
Yeah.
number three are the customers who buy the products and services and help the business to flourish.
Yeah.
And why are they together? They help each other to help themselves.
True.
Okay, and to keep them together, the purpose has to be larger than the business. The purpose has to be larger than the promoters. I remember reading somewhere, the purpose of Google or IBM, one of the companies was, it must be IBM, to
Hmm.
have a computer on every desk in the world.
That's with IBM. I think that was with IBM. I think.
Right. Now, this is a purpose, right? It's a motivating thing. So, purpose is number one. Number two, culture. Now, what happens in an organization? There are 100 people working, 50 people working, 1,000 people working. They're coming from different backgrounds, different cultures. They're coming with different aspirations. They're looking in different directions, different skill sets. How do you make them see to a common point?
Hmm.
That is the job of the culture. A lot of people don't pay attention to culture.
Yeah.
Okay, and
Got it.
as you grow, even the culture has to evolve.
Yes.
Then leaders, not leadership. People talk of leadership. Leadership is a resultant.
Yeah.
The challenge is the leader. So they don't invest in leadership development, still they want that the leadership should be very good. You got to invest or pick up the right person. Number three, or the next one is operational inefficiencies.
Hmm.
You see, now why do I bring up operational inefficiencies over here? Because in business, there are only three pillars. Number one is product leadership.
Hmm.
How good or bad is your product in comparison to your competitors? So, product leadership is one goal. Customer intimacy is the second goal. And the third goal is operational efficiency. So, one of the barriers becomes operational inefficiency.
Hmm.
People talk of financial constraints.
Hmm.
The question is, financial constraint is not a barrier. The skill not being able to raise finance is a barrier.
Sir, I completely agree with you. People, there are a lot of opportunities that can be brought in, but where to look for opportunities, what people tend to forget. Then, and how to look at those opportunities. You rightly said right now is that it is not about raising the capital or raising money, but how the leadership brings in that money is what I think you're trying to emphasize. Am I right in saying that, sir?
No, you're right in saying, and thank you very much, because my next point was Ostrich syndrome.
Okay.
Now, if the leader becomes an ostrich,
Mhm.
is not keeping himself or herself, you know, acquainted with what's happening in the environment.
Okay.
You see, and that's very important. The reason being, what does a company have? People would say products
Hmm.
or services. I said, no. The company has only got strengths and weaknesses.
Transparency. Okay.
The company has got only strengths and weaknesses. And what does the external world have, the outside world? Opportunities and threats.
Hmm.
So the job of a leader is to marry the strengths and weaknesses with the opportunity and threats so that the overall goal of the corporation, the business, or the company can be achieved. So ostrich syndrome, ostrich, and when people get into the ostrich syndrome, they start believing I know all,
Yeah.
and that is the biggest destructive societal point.
Hmm.
I know all, which means you have closed your mind. Any new idea, thought, or situation is being brushed off. Now, let's take the case of Nokia. Let's take the case of Kodak, Xerox. It was a case of semi ostrich syndrome. We know, though, this fad will come and go. It's nothing's going to happen with to us. Ultimately, what happened?
Even even if you look at BlackBerry
Yes.
or Nokia, you made a very important point where
Hmm,
BlackBerry did not come out of their OS. Nokia
hmm.
did not come out of their Symbian OS. Now
Yes.
Samsung, other people bandwagoned on Google's Android. This one, they made much better services and this one, but they were not able to sustain with what Symbian OS and what this one BlackBerry OS did. They were struck with innovation, saying that it is not going to change, we are not going to get affected and stuff like that. And somebody took over over full gamut, and the market is completely overturned.
I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you. And the last point I would like to make, in one of the, which is one of the very big barriers, not seeing the larger picture,
Yeah.
right, and joining the dots.
Hmm.
You see, the question is not why is your stuff not selling? It is going deeper. What is going wrong where? Has the market shifted? Has the quality gone down? The way you were meeting the customer requirements, are you not meeting them again uh, at present? Do you need some refinement in the product, or some repricing, or some new features need to be added? You see, so you, because life, business is not a single event. Every decision, you know, creates a ripple of reactions. You chuck a non-performer out, right? You're very happy, okay, this guy who was not performing, I have asked him to go and he has gone. Do you think the matter ends over there? It does not. Because that chucking off, right, if the matter is not communicated properly across teams and across the staff, could lead to a lot of insecurity.
Hmm.
That tomorrow we might be the people who would be asked to go.
Yeah.
Now, this thing would lead to a lot of restlessness, which would lead to low productivity, which would lead to mistakes, which would lead to low
Hmm.
morale, and which would lead to the top line and the bottom line being hit. So this was a very basic example. So what I'm trying to say, every decision creates creates ripples of reactions in all directions. So
Hmm.
you've got to see the overall, the larger picture, and join the dots.
Yeah.
Now
Sir,
the
so,
question,
sorry,
sorry,
go ahead, sir. Sorry.
I was saying now the question comes, how do we get out of it?
Yeah,
The simple answer is whatever the bottlenecks are, just do the reverse for the reason. But okay, let me spell them out. You've got to have a clear vision.
yeah,
You cannot go to the airport and tell the person, hey, give me a ticket, I want to fly. The person is going to say, tell me, where do you want to fly?
where do we go?
So the vision gives a direction and the place where you want to reach. A well defined goal is a product of a clear vision. I've already talked of the purpose, which needs to be larger so that
Yeah,
people get motivated. They get the sense that they are contributing to the company, they are contributing to the cause of humanity. And now comes the interesting part, which I tell all my clients. I said, you are planning for 5 years from now. Okay.
hmm, hmm,
You are at 100 crores. You are saying, I want to reach 500 crores. You got to pivot. You got to break out of this mold to
yeah,
achieve that. Close your eyes and visualize. What would your company look like 500 crores 5 years down the line?
yeah,
And once you have visualized, note down the factors. Okay, so much manpower. This should be the system, etc., etc. Do a SWOT analysis: strengths,
hmm,
weaknesses,
hmm,
opportunities, and threats
yeah,
at three levels. Number one, the company as a whole. Number two, the leadership team.
hmm,
And number three, the teams or the departments as a whole. Now, the visualization and this SWOT analysis, will give you the gaps you got to work on.
right,
So, what I say is bring the future to the present.
true. Visualize what you want to be. That's what you are saying.
Now, the next step is bring that visualization to the present
Yeah,
and plan whatever resources you have. How will you use them to achieve that goal? And then throw it back into the future. So, what happens? You have a path to walk on.
hmm,
Okay. And you walk on that path with an open mind because as you move forward, new technologies will come in,
yeah,
new disruptions would be there.
hmm,
Okay. New thoughts would be there. And as new technologies come in, new disruptions are there, new thoughts are there, new means are there, new strategies are there. Keep refining your path. Rather than firefighting, keep refining your path.
hmm,
Okay? So while your competitors would be firefighting, you would be moving ahead. And support this journey with the culture you require. If you want a innovative culture, bring in those factors. Help your teams to evolve. Get that mindset into your organization. So innovation becomes a part of the DNA.
hmm,
You want a human centric culture. Okay? Then train your leaders to be human centric, and which is very important, Prem, for the simple reason the days of own and manage or control and manage are over.
yeah.
Today it is all collaborate and create. We are living in a knowledge industry. Knowledge cannot be converted on a piece of paper.
Sir,
Okay.
I'll add one point here. See, now you said human centric and
Hmm,
you said it has to be collaborative. Now,
hmm,
looking at the technology growth that is happening, which is all talking about all AI and ML stuff,
hmm,
that does not understand any coding language. It
hmm,
has to be plain English, and you need to tell what is that you think in plain English. It will give you the results. Now, human centric is you don't need that hi-fi jargon stuff that is gone. Now you need to understand and talk like how you talk to a human person, it will respond to you in that fashion. That is the stage that is we are stay going back with technology again, where technology itself is saying, but I don't understand all your coding structure and stuff. Tell me plain English, what do you want?
I do appreciate one thing, but let's not forget one thing. AI is only helping us, or the
Yeah,
technology is only helping us to take better decisions.
correct.
It is helping us to research better, be more informed. You see, now the choice is yours. Either you allow AI to take decisions on your behalf, or you use AI as a tool to help you to take decisions.
Hmm, true.
Okay.
Yeah,
Now, I'm a firm believer that if you allow AI to take decisions on your behalf, you will be working, or say your decisions would be like playing on a slot machine
yeah.
with a probability of losing out,
Hmm,
because because AI will take decisions purely on data
yeah,
and the past incidents. Do human decisions are purely governed by data? Even the
yeah,
economic decisions, no. Emotions are involved. Okay.
yeah.
And trying to quantify emotions, which I know you are from the IT industry, I don't think so that's possible, because the emotions are a product of the neural pathways, chemical changes which happen in the mind, and that thing
Hmm,
cannot be imported at best. A representative thing could be just put in.
yeah.
Number two, if we look at the Indian ancient wisdom, okay, everything is so well explained what exists beyond our mind,
True, sir.
which is totally different dimensional. And you bring the string theory into picture, 10 dimensions are there.
Hmm,
We are only on the third dimension.
true.
Yes, it's a very exciting phase where we are getting a lot of
Yeah.
information. You are getting your customers' behavior patterns, you are getting how teams are performing, you are getting the ratios at the snap of the finger, right? But at the same time, they cannot run businesses. AI cannot run businesses. You need human beings to run businesses.
True.
And when two human beings are working together, it becomes very essential that they behave like collaborators. They
Hmm,
behave in a very human centric way. So I'm talking of the behavioral aspect. I'm not asking the AI, tell me how should I behave?
yeah.
Should my culture be human centric? No, I'm not asking that. That is what I know. It should be human centric. If I do not respect prem, if I do not stand by prem, if I keep yelling and shouting and abusing prem, how long is he going to stay with me?
Yeah.
I got to give him respect. I got to give him all the tools, facilities. I got to facilitate him to grow, so that when he grows, he helps my organization and me to grow. So, yes, again, I'll say, Prem, AI, virtual reality, augmented reality, Internet of Things, everything is fine. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
But for me, they are co pilots, maximum.
Sir, you made a point there again. Copilot is what Microsoft has termed their product of the AI part.
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
Now, how Copilot as a name comes up for them is, or what is their vision is, I am not the decision maker. Okay.
Hmm.
It is completely a human centric decision, what you told just now.
Hmm.
So while naming them, I had a couple of discussions with Microsoft team while I attended one of their co-pilot sessions in Bangalore here. So what they say is we we are only co-pilots. That's why we named our product itself co-pilot,
Hmm.
right? Now we only will give you a pointer that you want, and you are the pilot. We will drive based on your inputs. We will not take decisions.
Hmm.
You look at, there was a case scenario which they discussed was there was an insurance claim which
Hmm.
was made for an accident, and the insurance claim was that who was at fault.
Hmm.
So they had written a scope saying that two cars meet with an accident. One is this car and the one is the other brand car. No fatalities, nobody injured. Okay, but minor injuries, major injuries, nobody, no death. This one, minor injuries, which are there. Cars damaged to an extent which has to be assessed, and this is the pointer they gave to AI and told AI to take a decision on approving the claim.
Hmm.
So it so happened that it ran all the analysis and it said accident happened in this place, which based on this is the location. The cars were having a speed of this average based on the collision photos and stuff, and they have the nearby hospital of this hospital has admitted
Hmm.
these people who are injured, no casualties. The claim is about 60,000 rupees, but we'll have to inspect the location of accident to find out whose fault it is.
Hmm.
Based on that, I leave it to the inspector who's doing that to give his inputs and approve or reject the claim.
Brilliant. I'm loving this thing, you see. And now let me share this thing, one more example with you for the listeners also. You know, KBC, Kaun Banega Crorepati, is a big hit.
Yeah.
And you know the story of KBC? When Murdoch was there, right? And Star was not doing very well, Star TV.
Hmm.
He wanted it to be the number one production house in India, which eventually it became.
Yeah.
He said, tell me one thing, which is the biggest show in India? So the board said, Mr. Murdoch, it is when India and Pakistan play cricket.
Okay.
Fine, fair enough, brilliant. He said, I want a bigger show than that.
Hmm.
He said, what can be bigger than that? Let's have a quiz show rewarding people.
Hmm.
So the names of Siddharth and all these people who had been running Siddharth Basu, etc., who had
Hmm.
been running these quiz shows came up. He said, tell me one thing. Who is that personality in India which can make India stop?
Hmm. Okay.
So they said Amitabh Bachchan.
Okay.
Bring Amitabh Bachchan at whatever cost he demands.
As as
So
I
they go,
understand, the contract was about for 144 crores.
right. So the team goes to Amitabh Bachchan. He says, I've never done a show, right?
Yeah.
They said, no, 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 no. Probably money was the lure. He got in. And it's
Hmm.
turned out to be the biggest show,
Yeah.
one of the biggest shows in the country.
True.
Now, AI would never have selected Amitabh Bachchan because Amitabh Bachchan, as a quiz master, was nowhere on the horizon.
True.
Okay. Now, let me give you another very interesting example. There's a financial group in Bombay, which has got into sports in a big way. So, someone asked the chairperson, he said, you are doing so well in the finance world. Why are you getting into sports?
Hmm.
He said, look, I am very bullish on India,
Hmm.
which means the Indians are going to get more money to spend.
Yeah.
And when a person prospers and has money, he or she also wants entertainment.
Hmm.
Since people have not realized that sports could be the next big entertainment venue or vertical, I am betting over here. And he has invested a hell of a lot of money into sports. Now, AI would not have given this thinking because this was totally a different thought process.
Yeah.
He saw the larger picture, how prosperity will trickle down to the behavior and consumption of the population of India.
Hmm.
So there are a number of things, where people have thought differently, broken the mold, you see, and created new verticals. Probably they'll fall more in the innovative space, but in a way they have broken the mold of the industry and their thinking. And which is the most important thing, barrier which needs to be broken, is the gravity pull of I have never done this thing, how can I do it?
So the thought which came in from my mind also was, how can these leaders manage the resistance to change with their organization when trying to overcome those barriers?
Okay.
That's one question which I wanted to understand from you, Sandeep. How do
Brilliant.
we look at it?
We'll just talk about it, because what I'm talking about, the gravity pull, has
Hmm.
got a direct impact
Yeah,
on resistance. I have never done it. How can I
yeah,
change? How
yeah.
can I do it? Number two, our company has never done it, by.
Hmm.
We'll be doomed. Number
Yeah,
three, it does not happen in the industry. Therefore, we should not do it.
we cannot do it.
And lastly, our culture and society doesn't permit us.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, now this is a very important part of the resistance syndrome, right?
Hmm.
Now, to resist anything, any change, is human nature.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but the question is, human beings also have got a rational mind if explained and shown the positives. They adapt.
Yeah. True.
First and foremost is the leaders need to clearly communicate the purpose of change. Communication is very important. And in the communication, how will it benefit the company and how will it benefit the employees also needs to be, addressed. Number two, a lot of people, whenever a change is proposed, they feel that they will lose their power.
Yeah.
Like when computers came in the 1980s, there were huge strikes, etc.,
Exactly.
right? But no job was lost.
Yeah.
They only aided in increasing efficiency. So that thing has to be explained, that the change will not rob you of your job. Don't feel insecure. You train the people, invest in them, train
Hmm.
them. Okay.
Yeah.
You also need to develop the necessary culture of adaptability. And how do you create the culture of adaptability? If you say that, look, I will create this culture in the organization, it is meant only for the organization, it will never get created.
Hmm.
Because
Yeah.
who brings that adaptability? It is the people
People.
working in your organization, they bring the adaptability. So you have to work with your people, the leaders in particular, that they're prepared to get up, move out of their comfort zone.
Comfort zone.
They need to be assured that if anything goes wrong, they will not be held responsible. Okay. Till the time they have used their prudence, obviously, right? They
Yeah.
can't be reckless.
Hmm.
And the formula is very simple. Teach them how to manage their attention. Teach
Yeah.
them how to observe properly. When I say observe properly, what I mean is what is happening outside and what is happening inside them. The reaction inside the human body happens a fraction of a second before it manifests in the external space.
Hmm.
Teach them how to capture that point. And once they start capturing to that point, they will stop reacting. They'll become more responsive to the situation.
So this brings up to one point, I think.
One thing more, Prem, and
Yeah,
the
go
last
ahead.
point is acceptance.
Okay.
Accept reality as it is. You have created a mistake. Sir, I have created a mistake.
Mistake. True.
Don't come
Accept.
and tell me,
Yeah.
sir, mistake to हुआ but इस वजह से हुआ. No, a mistake is a mistake,
Mistake is a mistake. True.
right? So
Yeah.
if these four trainings are given to the people, to the employees, to the leaders, you will find that adaptability automatically comes in. There's more cohesiveness. Now, this is like a multivitamin tablet which I've shared with you.
Correct. I think it was one of the companies, I don't recall. They did a test, okay, and there was a product which was launched, and they spent about $10 million on it, and that product, okay, and the head for that product was brought in to look at those product, and it so happened that while it did, it failed, and when he decided to quit, his boss came and said, "You have decided to quit because of the failure, right?"
Hmm.
So, what do you think of the 10 million which was spent on this product or this experiment?
Okay.
And you tell me, what should I do now? Let you go or keep you, because I have invested in a research and you only would be the best person to tell me how the research went on. So we'll do another product.
This reminds me, when the moon thing failed, the
Yeah.
ISRO chief
Yes.
started started crying,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
What did our prime minister do? He went and hugged him.
Yeah.
You see, failures or non-achievement is a part and parcel of life.
Yes.
You cannot hold a gun to the forehead of the person who has failed,
Yeah.
provided you are sure that the person took all reasonable steps, took all
Hmm.
reasonable precautions, worked hard. His or her intent was absolutely clear, and this failure is for a reason beyond him or her.
Right.
I would love to retain that person.
Yes.
Now, let me share something very interesting with you.
Yeah.
Once upon a time, the DCM group was a big group in the country.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, in one of the conferences, Lala Charatram or Bharatram, they were two brothers, right? One of them said, when I make a loss of 10 crores, I don't sleep for 10 nights. And when my senior manager leaves me, I don't sleep for 10 months.
Hmm.
People said, why? He said, look, 10 crores loss, I can recoup in 10 days.
Yeah.
But when my senior manager leaves me, he's leaving with all my trade secrets.
Yes. Yes.
He's going to work somewhere.
Yeah.
My competitors would be strengthened. So the same thing applies to the question you raised or the MD raised to that CEO, right?
Yeah.
What should I do?
Yeah.
If the person has worked well, he should be retained, as simple as this. Now, again, AI will not give you this answer. This is
100%.
an emotional answer.
True. True. Sir, I think when we speak about mold, the fresh grads, people who are coming out of college, they are not in that mold or a frame where they are ready for the industry, right?
Mhm.
Now, how we can have these freshers or the young professionals who are just starting their careers face, right, companies growth challenges or be part of the growth challenges?
Number one, they should whether they're doing a startup or they're joining some company, whatever they're doing, they got to have an open and curious mind.
Hmm.
That is very important.
Yeah.
Number two, they should not be afraid of failing.
Hmm.
I know a lot of HR people, who say we would prefer a failure who admits that he failed or she failed because of this reason, rather than a person coming and saying he or she has never failed.
Yeah.
Number two, go in for mentoring, go in for coaching, learn on the job, and they should remember one thing: they might get any amount of knowledge, right? But till the time they don't convert the knowledge into action or visualize its conversion into actionables, that knowledge is meaningless. Like I always give this example, knowledge
Hmm.
is like a bullet, okay? The bullet has got no power till the time the gun is there.
Yeah.
And the gun has got no power
The
till the time the bullet is not
bullet is
there.
not.
So it's only the combination of the bullet and the gun
Hmm.
which gives the power to shoot and create that blast to
Yeah.
destroy,
True.
right?
Yeah.
Similarly, I might be full of knowledge, but if I don't know how to apply it, where to apply it, and when to apply it, it's meaningless.
Hmm.
So learn, apply, fail fast, be open, be curious to learn,
Yeah.
and don't get into an ego mode.
Yes. So
And
how
now,
it, yeah, yeah, good.
one thing I would like to tell all these people who get into the startup, because we are having a huge startup ecosystem today, and a lot of boys and girls are jumping into the startup,
Yeah. Yes.
right? When you enter the startup business or you set up a startup, please be very clear or make a plan for 10 years, 15 years.
Hmm.
You might start 6 months late, but start with a clear cut roadmap with B, plan C.
Hmm.
Don't try to do everything yourself, collaborate.
Yeah.
Because when you do everything yourself, one becomes zero ultimately. And
Hmm.
when you collaborate,
Yeah.
1 plus 1 becomes 11.
Yes. It multiplies.
And don't be scared of failing. Convert every failure into a learning, and next time don't do it,
Hmm.
or be cautious.
Yeah. So some pointers where you said fear. The biggest problem that people feel is if they fail,
Hmm.
what would be the consequences? And any pointers where you can look at these pitfalls to be overcome when they are trying to have a growth barriers.
Okay. Now, first, let me give you an example which happens in every household with everyone.
Hmm.
Let's assume you're going to a party, right?
Okay. Yeah.
The men and women, they'll spend hours,
Hmm.
right? I should wear this, I should not wear this. How would I
Yeah.
look? How would I not look? Black shirt, white pant, blue shirt, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Because somewhere in their mind, it is, I need to impress. And the
Yeah.
moment I enter the room, the entire spotlight is going to be on me,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
The
Agree.
truth is, they enter the room, they don't even get noticed. No one is bothered, right?
Yeah.
So that spotlight business was an imagination. Similarly, this fear, what if, is imagination. It's a story your mind is telling you. Hey, if you fail, so and so is going to make fun of you. And
Hmm.
the ego is saying it's going to be very painful.
Right. I
Okay.
think that there is a book which I would like to refer again. I don't know. I've spoken about this somewhere. There's a book called with Louis Hay, which say in that she says, "What do you explain fear? How do you explain false evidence appearing real?" Is what she says, and it says, "Fear means that you are believing something that is not at all there, but you are creating it in your mind. So false evidence is appearing real for you."
So, Prem, you're saying the same thing which I said. The only thing is, I said imagination. You see,
Yes.
and let me tell you one thing more.
Yeah.
To all the listeners, right? You are fearful. Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever the reason is, it's not a question of good or bad. There is fear in you.
Hmm.
I would like to ask everyone a question. Who troubles you more mentally, your enemy or your friend? It's your enemy.
Hmm.
You constantly think about your
Yeah.
enemy
Yes.
and you take your friend for granted. Okay?
Yes.
So, whenever you are in a state of fear, make fear your friend. And believe me, if you accept fear as a friend, you say, "Hey, fear, come, let's
Hmm.
hug each other."
Sir,
It will.
I'll tell you one thing. I'll refer to this podcast, which I think I've spoken to you this on many
Hmm,
occasions. Right? So this podcast, I've been trying to do this podcast for last 2 years.
hmm,
Okay? I always was scared how to do it, and I would refer Mr. Vijay, who was the
hmm.
first person who brought me into this podcast, and then we collaborated together. Okay. So Vijay brought me here, and I said, Vijay, I've been trying to do this for last 2 years, and you call me on a day, and you say you be a speaker in my
Hmm.
podcast, and after the day ends, I call him, and this is the same fear I had to run a podcast. Now you made me face this podcast. How do we take it forward? And we are on the 123rd episode today.
This is exactly, you made friends with fear. The
Yeah.
fear went away.
Mm.
All negative emotions want attention. Don't give
Yes.
them attention,
Yeah.
they'll go away. It
Yes.
is as simple as this.
Yeah.
But I just add one thing. A little amount of fear is also essential.
Yes.
If a student does not have the fear of failing, he or she will not study. If I didn't
And
have the fear of messing up,
mm,
I wouldn't have looked up my notes,
true.
right?
Yeah.
If you didn't have the fear that people will not come, you wouldn't have posted out so much
Yeah.
and invited or sent out so many posts on LinkedIn.
Yes, sir.
So a little amount of fear, which is under your control, is good. It makes you more productive, more successful. Your efficiency goes up, your effectiveness goes up. But if you give it too much importance and attention, then the fear starts ruling you.
Yeah.
And when the fear rules you, you become zero. So from a hero, you become a zero. The choice is yours.
Yeah. Uh, there was another saying which we said, when if you think you are going to fail, try doing it once. If you fail, you knew that you will fail. But if you succeed, that's a different ballgame.
Well, yes, this is a brilliant thing because, like, usually, there's a saying which says, maximum what's going to happen? You
Yeah.
will not pass. Go and take the exam, right? This is the way people talk, right?
Yeah.
I said, no. Since you have decided that you are going to fail, you are going to fail.
Hmm.
Go with the attitude that I am going to fail and take the exam.
Yeah.
Maximum what's going to happen? You will pass. Just flip it.
Yeah. And in one movie, there is it's a Telugu movie, which that guy was a politician. In any incident, he'll write have two speeches,
Hmm.
one for and one against. Okay, if this happens, I'll speak this. If this
Hmm.
happens, I'll speak this. So
Uh,
he used to be prepared for both scenarios and had speech praising one guy and saying negative about the guy because if it failed. So
so this falls in the category of accepting reality. In
yes,
reality, anything could be happen. So he was
anything can happen.
preparing himself. So for the young students, the rookies,
Mhm.
this is a golden nugget which you have offered them. You see, and I think it's a case of Tejpal Sapru. He was one of the
Mhm.
leading advocates of India, or Motilal Nehru. I don't remember whose case it was.
Okay.
They had so many cases. They were so busy
Hmm.
that they didn't get time to really prepare. But they were so good that even 5 minutes in the car, the brief was sufficient for them to go and argue.
Okay.
So, so the client gives the brief, the advocate goes and starts arguing. The client pulls his coat and says, "Sir, you are arguing against me." He
Hmm.
said, "Am I?" Say, "Yes, sir."
Mhm.
"My lord, this is the maximum my opponent can say. And now let me argue why my client should not be penalized."
Yeah. So it turns up.
Turns it around.
Yeah.
Why? Preparedness, openness, absorption, knowing what to do when, how.
I think today's post on LinkedIn, I think Radhika or somebody had put it across saying that public speaking and the presence there, and you have the clarity, you can win that show, right? So you have your presence very clear that you are going on talking on this, but if you have a clarity, you want to talk, and there's a small piece that is needed, and you can run over it.
Uh, well, I saw that post because Radhika and I, we are working together and we'll be very soon launching our public speaking thing for the leaders. Okay.
Okay. Hmm.
Uh, where do leaders and public speakers really fail?
Yeah.
And I'm going to write a post very soon about it. Is trying to understand what does the team want?
Yeah.
What does the audience want? What does the board want? They are so self-absorbed that
Hmm.
they believe that okay, if we deliver this, people will lap it up.
Hmm.
No. Like when you invited me, I said, okay, tell me.
Yeah.
And you shared certain information with me. What was your purpose of inviting me? How would you like, what would you like to give to your audience?
Yeah.
And accordingly, I prepared myself.
Yes.
So that missing link, you know, does not connect the leader with his team or the board or his peers. That missing link does not connect the speaker with the audience.
Hmm.
So rather, but Radhika has covered that thing over there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sir, coming to the final point that I wanted to understand from you is what are the must known trends and unknowns, the current business landscape that can impact growth strategies? Is there anything that you would like to help us understanding it, sir?
Look, it's a very simple thing. We are living in three worlds.
Hmm.
Okay. The internal world, the external world, and a scientific fictional world.
Hmm.
So when you talk of the trends, there are very many trends, you know, which will come in because of all the technologies which have evolved as they mature.
Hmm.
Okay. So here for me, it's not a question of what should I be aware.
Hmm.
What is more important for me, do I have the attitude to pivot fast?
Hmm.
Do I have the capability to learn, unlearn, and relearn at lightning speed? Do I have the capability to take the risk and be the pioneer?
Hmm.
Because, because here it is more of a question of adaptation as and when the technology which comes in matures. And whenever any technology comes in, be it in the area of AI, be it in the area of augmented reality, Internet of Things, etc., just be aware, just be curious, keep thinking how can it benefit you in personal life? How can it benefit you
Hmm.
in a business, in your profession? Now, let's take the case of Windows 10 and Windows 11.
Hmm.
Windows 11 was declared, obviously, supposedly a much higher version, a better version. There were a lot of bugs.
Hmm.
Impulsive guys immediately jumped to Windows 11
Yeah.
from a stable platform.
Hmm. True.
A lot of people kept on checking whether the bugs have gone or not gone.
True.
And once they were satisfied, once they were convinced that the bugs have been taken care of, they spent half an hour
Yeah.
and switched.
True.
So for me, it's not a question of being aware. Aware, yes, you got to be aware of what's happening. It's a
Hmm.
question of preparing yourself, more importantly, for that situation so that adaptation happens very fast.
Okay.
Otherwise, what's going to happen? You will lose customer intimacy because your competitor would be doing better than you.
Hmm.
You will lose product leadership because your competitors would be doing better than you.
Yeah.
And if they're adding more value at a cheaper cost. So, however important and optimized you might think your operational excellence is, still for the customer and for the market, it is not that excellent.
Hmm. Yeah. True.
Okay, because your sweet spot has been taken away by someone who could quickly pivot,
Hmm.
who could quickly adapt, who could quickly unlearn and relearn.
Yeah.
Because after all, these technologies are only tools.
Tools. Yeah. Agree.
They're tools, they're no more than tools. So, this is the reason I said that for me, it is more important that we have the mindset. As and when needed, we grab the opportunity, learn, unlearn, adapt, implement, move ahead.
Yeah. So thanks for that, sir. I would like to take a small summary on what I've noted down on what we discussed today. We discussed how common barriers are uh, where companies face today. Some of the personal and inspiring stories that we did. Okay. And few common dilemmas faced by the management and the leaders that are there. Okay. How innovation can be a part, but how the mindset is there to adopt that is what we spoke little on that. And the flexibility and the essential of modern businesses, what we were talking about, change, how it is significant and what we can look at, recognize early warnings or signals that the organization would face is what we thought about. And finally, we went in with talking about what freshers and the young professionals who can look at and what could be their understanding, whether it is a trend or it is the preparedness, is what we spoke about. This is what I have noted in my pointers, sir.
Okay.
It's
Now,
yeah,
just two corrections. Number one, we also talked about breaking the mold. Why is it essential
yeah,
for businesses to break the mold, right?
yeah.
Number two, we did not talk about, I think the last but one point you said was what?
This one, freshers and young
No, no,
professionals.
before that,
We spoke about early recognition of crucial times, essential flexibility, and our adaptability is what we spoke.
Okay,
And ele-
okay. So
yeah,
we did not speak much about the indicators of business stagnation.
yeah,
Okay. But like I've been talking about the three pillars, right? Operational excellence, customer intimacy,
yeah.
product leadership. If you find any disturbance in any one of the areas,
Hmm.
that is an indicator of stagnancy.
Yeah.
Markets are shifting, markets are shifting, preferences are shifting, right? Your sales are going down,
Hmm.
right? Your wastage ratio is going up,
Right.
cost COGS is going up, right?
Yeah.
What you are offering, the other companies has also started offering. They're eating into your sweet spot. So all
Yes.
these are indicators that you've got to be alert now
Alert.
and take steps so that you don't plateau out, because if you do not grow, you die, and that is
Yeah.
the law of nature.
So that is the breaking of the mold that we've been talking on, and the strategies for overcoming the growth barriers.
Yes.
Right, sir? Yeah. Great, sir. Thank you for joining us today, sir. It's been a great honor to have you again here. To the audience, we've been on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, Instagram. Hope this session that we have done with Mr. Sandeep Gupta has been valuable for you. Our next podcast is Inevitable Influence, Building a Personal Brand That Shines on the 30th of July at 6:30 p.m. We will see you there. Thank you, Sandeep sir. It's been a
Thank you
pleasure.
very much. Thank you very much, Prem. It was lovely talking to you again.
Yeah,
Thank you.
pleasure here, sir. Always a honor to have leaders like you part of our show, sir. Great here, sir. Thank you.